Yeah, so there was a new film that came out called The Imitation Game. And lo and behold, what a perfect chance for me to develop my style. So I'm going to review it based on story, characters, music, progression, themes, and anything else I might find interesting, trivia or whatnot. So let's jump right in. So we got Benedict Cumberbatch starring as Alan Turing. You might not know that name because there was an Enigma-breaking device on Pawn Stars. And lo and behold, we've got the story of Alan Turing in World War II occupied Europe as he appears at a radio manufacturing company wanting to get a job there. He mentions the word Enigma to the commander, and he's hired. So what follows is a pretty interesting story, instead of bombastic or anything over the top. We get nice, subtle, low-key performances, and they try and break it. And you can read this information up on Wikipedia. There's going to be some, not exactly spoiling anything when it's readily available. So, yeah, what I like about it though is they got very nice plot progression and everything else, which will be addressed later. But anyway, let's get into the characters. We've got Benedict Cumberbatch as Alan Turing. In fact, those two are related because of a 16th century, 17th century nobleman, so it's pretty befitting. Alan, he is a very, very nice change of pace. He's a genius, but he's flawed at the same time, an introvert even. We get to see it build as a character, what with his struggles. I mean, the guy, friggin', he broke Enigma for crying out loud. That's saying something allowed the Allies to defeat Germany, but what makes him so good is he's got vulnerability. He cares so much for his Polish translating machine, which actually costs £100,000, that makes him one of the most sympathetic and recognizable characters for all those who are underused, kind of like Walter White. Let's just say that he's the Walter White of code breaking. And eventually we see his love interest, Joan Clark. She's a level-headed character. She can hold her own. She's not like stereotypical damsel in distress. No, she leads the plot in a direction, and especially towards the end, where we feel sympathy for both Joan and Alan. That's what I like. It's good to have good, strong female characters, not just blanket love interests. And of course, there was one who surprised me the most was Peter, a college graduate, a linguist, I believe, who is kind of quiet. He doesn't do too much, but let's just say he was the biggest surprise at the end. I'm not going to spoil it, but his family, though, plays an important part. And it was taken aback. He, like I said, he holds his own. And he's a little bit more than a side character. You know what? I like that. I like that a lot. And then you get into the other characters, John and Hugh. They're pretty good. They're minor. I mean, they're part of the cracking team. But overall, it's more John who grows more towards the end. He doesn't do anything to hold the film down, as they try desperately to successfully break the code by midnight because they've got 18 hours to break the dang thing. So that's what they're doing. And last guy who took me by surprise was Commander Dennison, I believe his name was. He's not a stereotypical gruff. He's actually kind of a nice change from Daff from Ender's Game. So, yeah, he allows their team to get one more month before he says they're going to destroy the infernal machine and use it for scrap metal. So there was that, and there was also music. It's like you got the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra providing some nice touches. It really enhanced the movie well, especially during a scene in flashbacks with Alan during his school days. It fitted very well. I enjoyed it. And my personal favorite was when they crack Enigma. It was a very nice fanfare. It wasn't anything over the top. It's kind of something you would see in like a drop or something like that. So, it's not standard boring sounding grandeur, which is an oxymoron in itself. But you know what? This is pretty good. It's not going to be. I have a feeling it's not going to be my favorite, and it's not as good as Guardians of the Galaxy. Holy smokes. But you know what? For celebration, for painful memories, I really like this soundtrack. Then we get into what I personally look for in movies, themes. You've got approach. It's like, how are they going to... They try multiple ways to try and break Enigma. You know, it's like they've got the little typewriter you might have seen on Pawn Stars. They got pen and paper, and they've got try and move certain letters in certain ways in order to decipher what's happening. And honestly, I don't know much about cryptography, so I'm just going based on what the movie showed me. But like I said, you know, it's very refreshing change of pace. You know, it's like trying so many ways, and eventually they do break it. I'm not going to tell you how, but you can just always look it up on IMDb. So that was what I like, and you know, that's what made it great. It also challenges your approach. How are you going to view this film? Are you going to see it as a brilliant piece of cinema, or because Benedict Cumberbatch is in it and he was the voice of Smaug? So yeah. And there's also homosexuality. In the 50s in Britain, homosexuality would have you condemned. You couldn't get a job or anything like that. So when it was discovered he was a poof, it was very surprising to most people. And that is explored very well as we, I hate to say, see the mental breakdown of him right towards the end as he undergoes things I don't really want to describe. Hormonal therapy, and it weakens him, which adds more to his depth of a character who's not just a blank slate of emotion. The plot, the pacing was amazing. I was actually taken aback. It was almost perfect. Like I said, almost. Right up until when they crack Enigma for like 5 minutes, there's just 5 minutes of, doesn't look that good. It was just kind of boring overall as they try and figure out what to do. It's like the movie becomes stagnant, they're celebrating, and it's like, then what's going to happen? Who knows? But eventually, Commander Dennison comes in and kick-starts the film. And then right towards the end, when Turing is going through hormonal therapy, for like 5 minutes, there's drivel as he's just crying. It's robotic, you know. It's just like it's like, I know, it's like you can tell that he's sad, but that scene just couldn't be carried on. It's like Benedict can do almost everything else except for that one moment of tragedy. That's when Joan Clark comes in and actually adds more credence, as it was kind of sad, but not like enough to induce tears. But you know, it was kind of sad seeing this once great person having to go through such crap in the end. It was just like, what the hell, you know? So I really liked that, and it was definitely very well paced. And like Transformers: Age of Extinction, please don't see that film. The plot progression is just horrible. Yeah. And also with plot progression, I look to see if one scene overtakes another, or if we get long, drawn-on conversations in which there are none. And which brings me to the script. I love the script. You know, it felt like natural conversations between two people, and they add great to the tension and witty dialogue, especially when Turing has to try and make friends with his comrades, and guess what? He does eventually. You know, it feels real. It's grounded in reality. It's not filled with terrible puns. Punny. But overall, there's couple of things I didn't like though. Were the pacing. It was just towards the end, just didn't work out right, and just I wanted a little bit more out of Commander Dennison. You know, just kind of an overall ending. But hey, I like it though. Oh, and also I mentioned time skips earlier. That does play well with the plot progression too, so say what you will about that. So overall, I would give this amazing film a 9.5 out of 10. Highly recommended. Go and see it. Believe me, you won't be disappointed. It's only an hour and 51 minutes. So I will see you next time, and have a good day.